Eventually, I get everything set up, right? Welcome in, everybody. Joe and Mike here on this Monday night here, another edition of the Joe Quills Show. Mike, welcome in.
Thank you, Joe.
Got a lot to talk about here, and I'm just totally brain dead tonight.
Oh, yeah.
It must be my Polish citizenship. But yeah, we got a lot to talk about here. We'll do a unprofessional, professional update on the brackets as the men are in the Sweet 16. The women are 3 games away from completing their Sweet 16. And I created a group for SJ's crew for the men and the women.
Mhm.
The men, eh, I would love to have that sound drop, Jim Beheim from the Dan Patrick Show going, or whatever it is, but something like that. It's not like what I'm looking for sound drops. I'm going to use for um like movies and TV quotes and stuff like that. Not
Sure.
anything like like for example, a lot of my drops I get from Preston and Steve,
Right.
but it's not anything from Preston or Steve or the guys from the crew. I'm not using anything with their voice. Like I will use this one in a heartbeat.
Oh, my balls!
Right.
Or
You said balls.
Penis so small.
well, that's a white guy probably. But so that's what we're doing, and we do have breaking news. I got a new toy today, or actually, I got it Saturday. I got a new toy.
Okay.
It vibrates. Oh wait, I'm sorry. I was wondering why I was looking at bendover.com.
You're not supposed to tell them that.
Nah, seriously. I've been in the market for it for a little while, but nah, it won't let me do it. It's not long enough. It's long enough that it sits on my table perfectly for me, but I got me a stream deck.
Cool.
And once I figure out how to do sound drops and shit like that, people are gonna say, "Oh, take that fucking thing away."
All bets will be on.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I saw a video on NBC 10 that NBC 10's Instagram this morning. It was a reel that they had on there.
Okay.
They had a couple people that had that stream deck on their desk. I guess they have all different things that they have to do, like switching pages and.
Right.
I just got it on Saturday. I didn't get a chance to really play with it yet.
You have.
I mean, I don't even have a time to play with myself, but 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 Oh, by the way, 2 more bits of breaking news tonight. One from, I'm going to pull this up here. Um, the, you know that we have our partnership with Florida Atlantic, right? FAU.
Right.
Well, the Florida Atlantic the FAU Owls, they have two hockey teams, a Division two AAU
Right.
club team in uh, Division three.
Okay.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, the FAU Owls are your Division two national champions.
Whoa.
Hmm.
Well, bravo. Bravo.
Now, when I saw them, um, and you were saying about you turning your phone off.
Yep.
I mean, I don't have an issue with somebody having it on because you can just say, "Oops, shit, sorry," and just yeah, I did it because I had it on because of the pizza and you and everything else. So,
Gotcha.
so they defeated High Point University.
Okay.
They denied High Point the high point of their hockey program of winning a national championship.
Ah, they have the high point.
Yeah, so Florida Atlantic won 5-2. The game was on YouTube. Um, yeah, I watched most of the game except for when I had to run down the hallway to do my wash and whatever. But um, they won 5-2.
Cool.
I got to see them play Lynn University. I was actually doing some work with AJ
Okay.
when I was down there for the Pegasus World Cup, and then I crossed paths with Jessica. By the way, Saturday was Jessica's birthday. By the way,
Happy birthday, Justin.
yeah. I mean, she's not going to be watching the show because she's. I think she's the type of person that goes to bed before the sun sets
Oh, wow.
or whatever. But
Yeah.
I think that's all because of the horse racing stuff. Even when she was up in Boston at Suffolk Downs back in the day, getting up at like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning to tend to the horses on the backstretch and shit. But anyways, FAU won the national championship 5-2. Congrats to them. And by the way, the didn't get to talk to the goalie when I was there, but the the goalie on the national championship, uh, AAU Division two national champions,
Yeah.
went to the prep.
Really?
Hmm.
Nice.
Yeah, cool kid. He's been on the show twice, the Bleacher Brothers show twice
Okay.
already. So might have to have him on here once I expand on things and stuff like that. Cool kid,
That's nice.
and you know, um, but they did win the national championship. I do want to show you one other thing here if I can find here, but I'm going to go back to this for a second because I'm looking for it. So
Okay.
I want to show some a fun thing that happened Sunday. Now there is video of this, but now the NHL has the keeper of the cup, right?
The keeper of the cup.
When he's going to when he's going to um uh where is he? When he's going around and the tradition that they have um going around the when everybody gets the Stanley Cup for a day, gets a
Right.
ticket to whatever.
Oh,
Well,
right.
he's the guy that actually makes sure the cup gets in one piece to the next teammate.
Gotcha.
So I saw this. I saw the ceremony. Matter of fact, I can actually play this here. So the keeper of the cup was at the AAU College Hockey National Championship, and him and I think that's the other keeper of the cup. I think I'm not sure, but Philip Pritchard.
Okay.
Don't take the "ip" out of my name.
Right.
He helped present the AAU National Championship trophy.
Nice.
Of the Stanley Cup and the Hall of Fame trophies which are on display this weekend, Bill Pritchard and Mario Del Savia to present the Division II AAU College Hockey National Championship Trophy to the FAU coaching staff and Captain Leon Biller. We would like to invite.
Okay. I was just looking to see if there was more Philip Pritchard, but yeah, so I don't know how much it cost the AAU to fly him down there or whatever, but got some connections with the Stanley Cup there this weekend. So I don't know if he was presenting all the awards this year, all the championships, because you have Division One, Division Two, Division Three.
Right.
There is a women's division. I think there's another division or two involved there, but that I mean that was cool. I don't know if and you know, and that I really I was like, oh wow, because and the best part about the whole ceremony, you know how in college sports they have the trophy there on the table,
Yeah.
and the game is barely over. The team swipes the trophy and starts running around the field or court or something like that. It's like, dude,
Right.
let's have an actual ceremony first. So you can do all that running all you want.
Exactly.
But it was a cool thing. And AJ still has my Hockey in Paradise T-shirt from FAU. Maybe I'll get it back next month if I go down
Maybe. Yeah.
there. But we'll see. But FAU, congratulations! They are the AAU Division Two national champions, and they're going to Division One next year too.
Okay.
Now the thing is, it's AAU. They're all they're all volunteering to play. It's like playing little league baseball. You sign up for it. So I don't know if Division Three is ending up being a Division Two team next year, but I do know the Division Two team is moving up to Division One. So I don't know what's going to happen, but that was a cool thing to watch, and
Well,
I mean, the camera angles weren't that great, but this isn't ESPN. It isn't some 20,000 seat arena, but it was fun.
that's fine.
So I think it's still on YouTube. So you might have to play around with the FAU. You have to put it as Florida Atlantic University versus High Point or High Point versus FAU or whatever, but you'll find it. But for those that want to watch it after the fact, so yeah, I did want to bring that up here because I'm sure AJ will bring it up tomorrow night because I think he's back tomorrow night. I think
Okay.
so. Um, so I wanted to beat him to the punch because I actually watched the game and all that.
That you did. That you did.
So they did have a champion in Boca Raton, their first hockey national championship. Now it's not NCAA. I mean, the reason why they don't play NCAA hockey is just because all the schools are up north, and everything would be a 2 to 3 hour flight. It's really cost prohibitive.
Oh wow.
So that's why they play in the club hockey, and they end up playing like you play teams like High Point, which is a Division One athletics in NCAA.
Right.
They played Georgia. They played Middle Tennessee this year. But some of the games that they had, I mean, like Lynn University, who's their hockey rival, so to speak. I mean, they put a pounding on them every time they played them.
Okay. Okay.
But you do have that going for them. So, um, just peeking on my phone here. So, yeah. So, congrats to FAU hockey, and I'm just for those that since I'm promoting your hockey stuff here, I don't know what size AJ is, but I'm an XL and Mike is double X.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mike's a double X. I'm a single X, and in my mind, I'm triple X. But
Now you're wrestling. Okay, gotcha.
okay, so that is the unplanned part of the show where I was like, oh yeah, let's talk about that. I mean, I didn't tell you anything about it, but
No, you didn't.
of course not. So yeah, so um, let's get to March Madness here. Did you fill out your bracket, Mike?
That would be a negatory.
No.
We are watching the games purely as a fan. Get it, fan?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I filled out the men's bracket. I'm like, women's. I'm 13 for 13 in round 2.
That's cool.
Now I went 25-7 in the first round,
Right?
but I got 13 for 13. But it looks like it's going to the streak's going to end at 13 because. Oh no. Okay. North Carolina did win 58-47, so I'm 13-1.
Wow.
And
Okay.
and North Carolina is the only school that has fucked me over.
They didn't mean to.
But anyways, you said you were asking me earlier, was it UCLA that played tonight? Was that what you said?
I was asking that. Yeah.
Yeah, because I have because USC plays tonight.
Okay. Juju.
And the only reason why I'm like, huh? Because of the fact that I know that UCLA is a 1 seed and USC is a 1 seed as well.
Right.
So I just didn't know that. So let's look over the men's bracket here. And, I think the most important thing about the bracket, no mid majors, no small schools, no schools where you're saying this.
Who the fuck is that guy?
Right?
None of that. Well, you may be saying that for some of the guys on, individually, but as a team itself,
Right.
you've heard of these schools. And I do want to play this one thing here. I mean, I could wait for when we look through the brackets here and everything. I got to play this because, damn, I was spot on with Arkansas St. John's. And I have to play this just because I got to boost my ego up after the horse racing picks I had this weekend. But, anyways, here is from Wednesday night show. If I can get it to play. Because the alert that I'm sharing was blocking the play button. But here we go.
Okay.
Now, if my shoulder wasn't all fucked up, I'd give myself a pat on the back, a self pat on the back.
Well, bravo. Bravo. You were spot on.
One of the few times. But yeah, I mean, we're gonna look at the brackets here, but gotta give myself some credit somewhere. And but it was but we have 7 SEC teams still in the tournament.
That's amazing.
We have one one ACC team left. That's Duke.
Right.
We got 2. 4 from the Big 12,
Okay.
and the rest are Big 10. So 7, 1, 4, I guess 4. So let's share this screen here so we can look over the brackets here. You know, there we go. And I'm going to zoom in on this so that the people at home can can see this a little bit better here. So the South region, um, Auburn beat Alabama State. That wasn't much of a surprise. I think they had a little bit of trouble in the beginning, but they started to get out of it. So they ended up winning by 20. They didn't cover that 32 and a half. Creighton beat Louisville. I expected Louisville to show up.
I did too.
Now they showed up for the first 5 minutes and they said, "Oh wait, we're supposed to be in class."
Right.
Because Lexington and Louisville are only about 50, 60 miles apart. So,
Yeah.
so they actually had an opportunity if they won to have a major home court advantage over a top seed, which they usually don't try to do. But Creighton said, no, and then Auburn ended up beating Creighton. So Auburn is in the Sweet 16 with everybody else who's in the SEC, basically.
Right.
Michigan held on versus UC San Diego.
I think that was gonna be an upset.
Me too. Everybody did.
Yeah.
Texas A&M beat Yale.
Yo. Oh, you hear? Yeah. Okay.
Now Yale couldn't beat an SEC team for the second year in a row, and then Michigan. Let me tell you, I walked away from the TV. I think I might have gone to the store. Because one thing is with me, I just couldn't sit here all day because I had to get my wash done. I had to do this. I had to do that. And I think Texas A&M was up double digits on Michigan.
I think so.
And the next thing I know, I get home. Well, first of all, Saturday, I think what happened is because I had the same model, well, not the same model, but the same branded TV in the dining room as I have as in the living room.
Right.
I guess when I turned the one TV off, I turned the other one on.
Right.
And I'm like, I know that TV wasn't on when I left here. Apparently it was.
Okay.
But I ran to the store and I purposely left the TV on this time. And I'm like, huh?
Right.
But Michigan ended up winning 91-79. They take on Auburn. I think Auburn has one more win in them.
Yeah. At least one more.
Yeah. But also the South region. I forget where these sites are. And I think I threw that bracket out. Hold on a second. All right, we're going to have to do it this way. I'm going to have it off the screen here. Or not shared. Thursday. Okay, those games are Friday in Atlanta.
Okay.
So Auburn will have a bit of a home court advantage.
That's true.
So, I mean, that's the thing. What they try to do is as long as you don't have a court conflict, and you may see something like this with Villanova next year because the first 2 rounds are in Philadelphia, I believe. So what they'll do is, because St. Joe's is the host site.
Right.
So if St. Joe's were to be slotted into the Philadelphia region or sub-region or pod or whatever you want to call it, St. Joe's cannot play at the Wells Fargo Center because they are the host institution for that portion of the tournament. Because have you ever noticed that You ever notice that if you go down the court from left to right on the top right corner of the court, right out of bounds is the school logo or the conference logo.
Okay.
That's whoever is the host site for whoever is the host institution for the. So it may be a school, it may be a conference, whatever.
Right.
But if you play more than 3 regular season games or 3 or more, I think it's 3 or more. It may be more than 3, but depending on the verbiage, if you play X amount of games on a particular court,
Right.
it's considered a home court. So a lot of those games that Villanova would normally play at the Wells Fargo Center,
Yeah.
they're mysteriously going to end up at the Pavilion or whatever they call it this week.
Yeah. Whatever. Yeah.
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 So you're going to see that happen. So, I guess Georgia Tech is the host institution. So if they were in the tournament, they would have been able to play there. So, and then the other half of the South Region on Friday, Ole Miss takes on Michigan State.
All right. Okay.
Now, I thought Ole Miss would lose to North Carolina.
I thought so too.
Now, I know that some people will be saying, why, Joe? Why? And I think I had a pretty good point. And if I had more time to dissect the video and play different quotes, I would. But basically, I said this on Tuesday night on Twitter. I said it on Facebook. I said it basically everywhere, and I said it on this stream. Even if it wasn't a 40-some point blowout, usually those Tuesday night matchups in the first 4, they usually play on Wednesday. They usually play on Thursday.
Right.
And the Wednesday, you got no choice. You got to slot them into a Friday slot. North Carolina and San Diego State, whoever would have won that, would have had 2 days of rest to prepare for Ole Miss.
Good. I remember that.
But, Ole Miss was up big. North Carolina came back, and Ole Miss held them off.
Carolina had that extra day off too.
Yeah. Iowa State beat Lipscomb. That wasn't much of a game. This game kind of shocked me. New Mexico defeated Marquette. And whatever you do, Villanova, do not go after Shaka Smart. Because the last 5 years, he's lost to double-digit seeded teams each of the last 4 or 5 years or something like that. But
Lobos lost, huh?
what?
The Lobos lost.
Yep.
I like them. I thought they went away.
Yeah. So Michigan State won. They beat Bryant. They beat the Raging Martelli Juniors.
Right.
And they beat New Mexico. They were down a little bit early on. They came back and I have to see if I can find this picture. Rick. So Rick Pitino went to see his son in Cleveland, give him support because didn't have to play a game, and also you got eliminated because your team can't shoot straight.
Right.
I mean, Stevie Wonder could shoot better than half the team. But I have to share this picture.
Okay.
And I gotta get rid of. Well, we'll get back to that one here. Actually, I should have just kept it. Now, let me fix that here. So we're gonna go to the bracket. Then we're gonna go here. And I have one question for Rick Pitino. Did he literally get off the fucking plane and go right from there to the fucking arena in Cleveland?
He might. He just might have. Oh man, Rick.
Now, where did they play that second round match? Hold on. Oops. I didn't want that. Thankfully, I'm not sharing this part. This one tab. He played in Providence, Rhode Island.
That's right. Yes, they did.
So it wasn't like he was playing in like LA or somewhere down south where it's actually warm. I mean, I believe in body acclimation. That's why, like, if we get a 65, 70-degree day, I'm wearing shorts and a tank top outside and stuff because, well, then again, also it's so fucking hot in here. But what the hell was that you were wearing?
Don't know what Rick was thinking at the time.
But I don't know. But anyways, so Michigan will take on Ole Miss. Michigan State's a 2.5-point favorite. Auburn's an 8.5-point favorite over Michigan. Got a possibility of a Michigan State matchup or an SEC matchup there too. So we'll see what happens with that. We'll get back to the right side here in a moment. Florida got a big scare from UConn.
Yes, they did.
UConn beat Oklahoma. You know, they have problems with Oklahoma. Oh, and remember when I said the Norfolk State coach said we're not a 30-point underdog?
Yeah.
Well, he was right. They covered.
Yeah, he did say that.
I think he said that in the press conference too. And Florida, UConn just ran out of time. Colorado State beat Memphis. That wasn't too much of a surprise. It was an upset, but not if you bet it. If you bet the point spread, because Colorado State, I believe, was a favorite here. Yeah, Colorado State was a 1.5 favorite. That was because of injuries on the Memphis side.
Okay.
So, Maryland beat Grand Canyon. I mean, they put a bigger hole in that canyon.
Yeah, they really did.
And then Maryland beat Colorado State at the buzzer, 72-71. That had to be horrible if you had Colorado State money line.
That was a great ending to that game. That
Yeah.
really was.
Yeah.
I thought for sure Colorado State was going to win that game.
Well, you got to salute the Maryland kid because he told the coach, give me the effing ball.
Yeah.
And for a freshman to do that, I'd be like, oh. I mean, I don't think you want to say that first game of the year, but in March, So.
Well, the coach told him, you better not blow it. He didn't.
Mm-hmm. And then we see the final portion of the West. Drake beat Missouri. Missouri loses again in the first round.
Right.
The Drake's cakes. Well, the head coach, because they lost here, he's taking over Iowa. Texas Tech beat UNC Wilmington. UNC Wilmington was giving them a hard time.
Yeah,
then they beat up on Drake. Kansas became the second team to be a preseason number 1 and lose in the first round of the tournament. Who was the first school to do it?
That is a good question. Oh, wait a minute. Shoot. I know this one. It wasn't UCLA. I know this question, the answer to this question. All right, give it to me.
The University of Kansas. They did it twice.
Oh, I told you I'd do the team.
Yeah. St. John's beat Omaha, the Raging Paytons.
Omaha.
Omaha was giving St. John's fits in the first half, and St. John said, enough of you.
Yeah.
But then Arkansas, we played that video. Arkansas beat St. John's, and Calipari gets his revenge.
Yeah.
But, Texas Tech and Arkansas, Texas Tech a 5.5-point favorite.
Arkansas should win that game.
What?
Arkansas should win that game.
Okay. So, and then we could have 2 SEC teams there as well. Then we go to the East. Duke had no problems either game. You figure Baylor would give them some type of a game, but
I would think so.
But they didn't. Oregon beat up on the Liberty Bibbities.
Yeah, they did.
Just like the football team beat up on them a couple years ago in the Fiesta Bowl.
Right.
I was shocked that Arizona won by a lot here. I expected Akron to at least cover the spread.
This didn't do it.
Nope. And Arizona beat Oregon there. That was a crazy game.
Yeah.
So you got Duke and Arizona.
Duke might actually get a game.
What's that?
Duke might actually get a game. It
Yeah.
might not be double digits.
Yeah. BYU. They won the They won the letter game with VCU,
Right.
and then he beat up Wisconsin. Well, they beat Wisconsin, I should say. Yeah. I did see this, and I don't know if this is true or not, but because a lot of the shit that you see on Facebook Reels or Facebook Stories or whatever you call them, the face the Instagram Reels and all that stuff, whether it's true or not, I don't know, but somebody said Wisconsin was going to um, appeal to the NCAA because when the game was over,
Right.
technically when the clock hit zero, the horn hit and all that.
Right.
One of the BYU players celebrated
Yeah, I saw that.
with a self pass off the backboard and dunking.
Right.
You're not allowed to dunk when the game's not in action.
Oh, okay.
But the game is over.
Right.
So, it's kind of like, well, Now, if he had done that during the game, like let's say 2 minutes left in the game, and there was a cheap foul, and he did what he did there,
Right.
then that would have definitely been a technical. But since the game is over, I guess because the game is over, there's nothing really I can do because
That's what
the
I'm
fourth.
thinking.
But well, yeah. So BYU advanced. They take on Alabama. They beat Robert Morris. Robert Morris has given them problems as well. St. Mary's beat Vanderbilt. I expected Vanderbilt to win that.
Okay.
And then Alabama pretty much. I think they pretty much had their way with St. Mary's there. But
I thought St. Mary's would have better showing, but
yeah,
Alabama's gonna beat BYU.
yeah. Hopefully the Storm and more. Well, actually, don't. Wait, I have Alabama in the Final Four, don't I? Let me see.
They shoot the three quite well.
Oh no, that's the region I have Duke in. Okay.
Okay.
I'm just getting myself confused with the way that they laid this out. So I have Duke in that region. So I don't care. Storm and Mormons, do your job.
Right.
I tried to swing for an upset here. Gonzaga just couldn't get by Houston, and
No, they couldn't.
and what Houston in Houston parlance, that's extremely high scoring.
I thought the Jags were gonna win that game though.
Yeah, I had Gonzaga in the regional finals.
Yeah.
But Houston, I was looking for that one bracket buster. Didn't happen.
Right.
They take on Purdue. I thought High Point was going to win that game. High Point kept hanging around. They just couldn't get by.
Nope.
McNeese beat Clemson. McNeese held Clemson at 13 points in the first half.
That's wild.
That's only 13 more points than you and I scored in the first half. And then Clemson came back and, they won by 2. Their head coach is taking over NC State. I don't know if they've made that official yet or not, but that kid, I think his name was Amir Khan.
Oh, yeah.
The manager.
Yeah.
He's got the NIL deals.
Yeah.
Well, he's apparently transferring to NC State as well.
I saw it. Yeah, he said he's going with them. Yeah.
And then Purdue had their way with McNeese. Clock struck midnight on them. And then you got an SEC matchup here, Kentucky and Tennessee.
Right. Don't be surprised if Tennessee wins their game.
If who?
Tennessee.
Well, Tennessee's favored.
Yeah.
Kentucky and Illinois. They beat Troy handily. I didn't really get to see this game, so don't have an opinion on it. UCLA beat the crap out of Utah State, and you were just wondering if the Mountain West before Colorado State finally won. You're just wondering if maybe the Mountain West is the bitch of the tournament.
Right.
Tennessee beat Wofford, and they beat UCLA. Keep an eye on the UCLA coach, possibly being the Villanova coach, which would be cool because his brother, I follow his brother on X, and he's a horse racing guy, so
Okay.
might see him at parks once. Never saw him in person. Never saw a picture of him in person, but
Mhm.
So those are the 16 teams there. You got Auburn and Michigan, and Ole Miss and Michigan State. They play on Friday. Thursday, you got Duke and Arizona and BYU and Alabama. Of course, they put Duke Arizona as the late game because
course.
so and the thing is because it is the East region. 9:39 start for that second game, which probably means it's not going to start till about 10 o'clock. So that game probably won't end till about 12:30.
Right.
Thankfully, New Jersey Transit runs all night. So if you have to get to New York or head down to Trenton, you can take that. It's just that you're not going to get a SEPTA train from Trenton to Philadelphia until the morning. In the West, Florida and Maryland, Texas Tech and Arkansas. I have Texas Tech in my Final Four. And I have Tennessee in the Final Four as well. So I actually have all four of my teams in the Final Four still.
Okay.
So I'm hoping that I do a little bit better this year, but But with the ladies, I mean, I'm not going to go through that bracket.
Okay.
Oh, I got an on fire. I got a flame here. I don't know what that means on ESPN, but UConn is up big, so that'll put me at 14-1.
Right.
And USC is at 10 o'clock, so I could have 15 of my 16 teams in the women's tourney still there.
Wow.
And that was basically just looking at numbers like, all right, this one. All right, this one.
It's funny. I think you can always count on the number ones, the twos, and threes of the women's team advancing, but you can't count on the men's 1, 2, 3 teams advancing.
Last 2 years you could.
Yeah.
Last year and this year. Because I think they saw like the 2 years worth. They said, oh, no, we can't have that anymore. No. And we're going to throw in this thing called NIL. Oh, I'm sorry, NIL.
Yeah.
Like NIL is a no chance that you get into the Final Four as a seed lower than 4.
Right.
But but that's everything there, and going to be fun starting on Thursday, and you know what also starts on Thursday?
Yes.
Baseball. That's right. Well, for the LA Dodgers, it started last week over in Japan.
Yeah, it did.
But
already 2-0, right? I think they won.
Yeah, they won both games. Everybody's going to beat up on the Cubs this year. I'm going to make 2 predictions right now, even though I'll be making some hot take predictions for the calendar for the baseball season. 2 hot takes I'm going to make right now. Number 1, the NL Central this year will not have more than 85 wins.
Ooh. Okay.
And 2,
right.
And this happened 2 or 3 years ago, and it may happen again. Every team in the AL East will be 500 or higher.
I can see that. It's not going to happen, but I can see it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's a strong division.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And And by the way, I talked to Mike Abadier yesterday.
Mhm.
Well, first of all, I did give him now while I'm doing the show,
Right.
and I didn't say, dude, I'm doing my horse racing show. I'll get back to you. So I'm looking, and he goes, I like Arkansas. Where was it? He likes he liked he said on Saturday he liked Gonzaga plus 5.5, which he barely got.
Okay.
Then he had McNeese State plus 6.5. So he went 1-1.
Right.
So I told him, no problem. Got busy with my horse racing show. I like Arkansas and Gonzaga money line. So I at least would have made a profit. He would have made a profit off of those two wagers for me. So that doesn't count towards the Philly fade because it wasn't on the Philly fade section of the show.
Okay.
But I still gave out a winner.
Yeah, we'll give you credit for it.
And did I play it? No, because I was playing horses all day.
We'll give you credit for it.
While I was standing in line to get my real ID, which I finally got.
That's why we'll give you credit for it.
Yeah, even though they, like we got pizza from Big Ben's tonight.
Right.
They said, "Big boy, bend over," because because there was still another issue with my ID.
Oh wow.
It was the fact that my ID had my middle initial on it.
Right.
The birth certificate had my full name on it. And they explained it to me, but I was kind of not listening because I was like, yeah. All right, I got the stuff here to do this. Just give me my tickets. I can sit down for like an hour and a half or whatever it's going to take me to get a person.
Right.
So, it took a little while, but it's going to be in the mail.
Cool. One less thing.
And I'll have that little star at the top,
Okay.
and I'll be like, I got check, motherfucker.
Right.
But yeah, so I would say if you're going to do it as quickly as possible because I get the feeling that just like everything else, people wait to the last minute.
Yep.
And I'd rather spend 3 hours on a Saturday while I'm sitting there playing Fairgrounds and Turfway.
Right.
By the way, I wish that I'd looked at this. I wish I'd looked at this one race at Turfway, but I didn't because it was like one of those. It was. I think it was an allowance race or something. I picked a 16-1 shot winner,
Mm.
which actually you add 15% to it because there was a 15% bonus on those races, and I got like $20 back from my winnings and all that shit. So
A win is a win.
yeah, so paid like 34 something to win. I was like, please, it's because I didn't check the results because like, all right, I'll watch the race here. I'm
Right.
like, and the worst part is if I'm sitting here at home, I don't give a shit about the people across the hall
Right.
because it's middle of the day.
Right.
Come on, six or 6 or 8, whatever it was. Come on, six, you motherfucker. Come on, you motherfucker.
Right.
And but since I'm sitting there, since I'm there, it's like and you're just sitting there, and it's like, all right, come on. You got it. You got it. You got it. But
Ching ching.
oh, and the security guard there in Ben Salem,
Yeah.
the PennDOT at Ben Salem, really went off on one person because somebody, and I don't know what the hell he was thinking,
Right.
teenage white kid, probably some upper middle class scummy person, you know, doing whatever. It says take no pictures. You're not allowed to take pictures in here. Get out.
Okay.
But
Education.
actually, I would have said it to the person, but I was waiting there about an hour
Right.
in line, and I was sitting there for about 20 minutes, half an hour at the time. Can I get a selfie with you?
Right.
But
No.
enough about that tangent here. But baseball's back.
Yes.
Mookie Betts.
Hmm.
Well, his stomach is.
Right.
I don't know what happened to him. I don't know what he did.
Hmm.
I don't know if maybe some lady of the night that he met in a hotel down there in Arizona. Oh, I shouldn't start that stuff. But
Don't say it.
but Mookie Betts is still dealing with an illness, and his return remains uncertain. Now, he does have a bad case of diarrhea.
Ah.
He is just doing his Tracy Morgan impression. Bleh.
Was he hurt during the end of the season last year?
What's that?
Was he hurt during the end of the season last year?
He was hurt during the summer.
Right. That's what it
Yeah,
was.
he had a wrist injury, broke
Yeah.
his wrist
Yeah.
or
I
something.
knew it was something like that.
Yeah, so Mookie's dealing with an illness. He missed the first 2 games of the regular season at the Tokyo Dome last week
Right.
and was sent back to LA to continue recovering. He was also a late scratch for last night's exhibition win over the Angels at home.
Hmm.
I think it was at home. He told reporters he hadn't been able to keep down solid food without vomiting for 2 weeks and has lost about 15 pounds during that time.
Wow.
So something's going on.
Something is going on with him.
But the thing is, he says, I feel great. Like my body feels great. I've been able to work out. I've been able to do pretty much everything but eat, which is strange.
It is strange.
So the symptoms kind of gone away. I just have to figure out how to get my stomach to kind of calm down.
Hmm. What can he take? Pepto-Bismol? That'll calm his stomach down.
I don't know. This is where I wish I had dated a doctor so I can have an idea. Without as long as this doesn't violate HIPAA laws or anything, what do you think he has? Yeah. And we'll just say, hey, this is not an official thing, but
Right.
but
Yeah, maybe it's stomach virus. Maybe.
mm,
Huh.
I don't know, maybe it's a long term thing, like kind of like long term COVID, but long term, I don't know. No, I'm making shit up as we go along.
Right.
So far, all his blood work and other routine testing has been normal. So this makes it even stranger.
It is strange.
He won't play in Monday's exhibition at Angel Stadium. He's a long shot for the Dodgers opening day game on American soil on Thursday against the Tigers, which is great because I drafted him in a fantasy league I'm in.
Oh, did you? Okay.
So he said it's just hard to fathom not eating and going to play a game. So it looks like I'm just going to be light a little bit. Maybe I play uphill a little bit for the beginning of the season, but no, I just want to play. I'm tired of sitting, tired of growing up, tired of doing all this. I just want to play. I'm tired of doing my Tracy Morgan impression.
I just want to play.
Too soon?
Right. Too soon.
So, but he's making the transition to shortstop after playing most of his career in right field and second base. So, but yeah, that's a very strange thing that's going on there.
It really is.
But
Loveworth's fine, and he said he felt fine, but if I'm not mistaken, my first wife felt the same way when. Okay, anyway, so can't be that. It's safe.
I hope she's not watching.
No, she's definitely not watching.
Good. So, So hopefully Mookie's okay for my fantasy team. But you know, but you know, but LA's got to come to Philly next weekend. So maybe he still has a bad case of the pukes.
We played them for the home opener.
No, we play him next weekend.
Or the following week.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because we play. We go to DC, and then is it the Mets that come in?
I don't even know. I'm pulling it up
I
now
forgot who comes in. But I know we go to DC first.
because I have the out of the park baseball 26, which is for the 2025 season. But I haven't dabbled in the Philly schedule yet because I think what's going to happen is they're going to have another update by Thursday.
Okay.
So I don't know the beginning of the schedule because I could have been right there and said, okay, this team. Let me see.
Well, I know
Schedule.
they play Thursday. Zach Wheeler is starting. I did hear that. He had his final tune-up on yesterday. So.
They are not playing the Mess.
Okay.
Can you smell what the Rock is cooking?
What are they playing? Florida?
Colorado Rockies.
Okay. Oh, the Rock. Yeah, they're playing the Rockies. Gotcha.
Yeah, and it's a 3:05 game.
Okay.
I have to work, so and even I I think let's see, we're closed late. I'm off on Wednesday. So if we wanted to take a night off, if I wanted to take a night off, Colorado does play Philadelphia on the second. It's an opening night T-shirt giveaway.
Wow.
I don't know, but it'd probably be cold as fuck. But Fanac's birthday's on April 20th. They should have him. They should have the Fanatic high as a fucking kite.
Right.
Yeah, man.
Right.
So no, just joking around, but so yeah, so
Hope is okay. Hope he gets
yeah,
feel better.
yeah, because that's I mean, when you don't know what it is, that's the worst thing.
It really is. Like you said, you should have blood work his fine. He said he feels fine, but he's still. Yeah. Well, today was cheesesteak day. I wonder if he had something before that.
Well, there's only one good cheesesteak place I know of out west, and it's in Vegas.
Ah, okay. Vegas, baby.
Pop's Steakhouse. And my friends that are in Vegas, the first time that I went there with them, he says, "Is this an authentic Philly cheesesteak?" I said, "Yeah, but the only thing is, they got a parking lot here. We don't have parking lots at our tourist trap cheesesteak places.
Right.
Gyms,
Right.
gyms in gyms on South Street, no parking lot.
Right.
Pat's and Geno's across the street from each other,
No parking lot.
no parking lot. If we even want to go to Joe's at Front and Girard,
Right.
no parking lot for them.
Right.
I mean, if you really wanted to, you could park at the parking lot 7-Eleven if you really wanted to there. But but you're not going to. My opinion, in terms of the food there at Pops in Vegas, it's not I mean, it is Philly authentic cheesesteak.
Right.
But in terms of the lay of the land,
Right.
it has a parking lot. It's not, that's not Philly.
Right. The place in East Falls, Delisandro's, no parking lot.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I saw that. I saw them on TV or whatever. So, Larry's at St. Joe's. That doesn't have a parking lot, does
No
it?
parking lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, are we saying that even though the food may be like if you've seen a Philly cheesesteak place, I'm sorry, a cheesesteak place, because if you say Philly cheesesteak, then you're showing that you're not really.
Right.
But you gotta put Philly in there if you're outside the area because the fuck is this? like kind of like when I went to Pittsburgh the one time. I got a cheesesteak sandwich at PNC Park. Here it was a thick steak and fries in there. The what is that place there in Pittsburgh?
Oh, not from Manning Brothers.
Yeah, Permane Bros.
Okay.
Yeah, the Permane Brothers steak there. I was like, no, this ain't a cheesesteak. Damn.
Now, it'd be funny in Vegas when you go to the Joe's steak place and they have a big sign that says no parking. It's like, yes, there you go. Now
Yeah.
it's authentic.
Actually, if I remember correctly, and we're totally going off here, and this is typical me, even when Mike's not here, going off on tangent upon tangent upon tangent. I believe one of the casinos in Vegas, one of the newer ones, I don't think it's the Fontainebleau. It's the other new one. I think there's a Chickies and Pete's in Vegas.
Really? There's a chicken piece up in Parks, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, in the Sahara Casino in Las Vegas, there's a
Right.
Chickies and Pete's.
Okay, cool.
I don't know, maybe next time I'm out in Vegas, probably September. Hey, you want another Philly staple? Because I got them talking cheesesteaks a couple years ago.
That's
Because
right. Chicken and Pete's.
yeah,
Chickies and Pete's.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, we're talking food, and there's a Chickies and there was a Chickies and Pete's there. We'll find out. We'll find out on Monday when we see all the signage behind center field at
Right.
Ashburn Alley.
Right.
And I imagine there's going to be a Chickies and Pete. They'll still be there, whatever. But and Action Lab Sports, who rated me 3 weeks ago, they're doing a food show, concessions, like the new concessions at the different sports on Wednesday night. So maybe a shorter one I can send you guys over there or whatever. But but we'll see if Chickies and Pizza's still there. Probably will be, but you never know. You might go walking there, like me, if I go there on next Wednesday because I'm off, and like, yes, I'm gonna get my Chickies and Pete's, and then you look and it's like Szechuan World
Right.
or the Something Wong Cafe,
Right.
Something like that. It's like
You're right.
I'd be like, no.
Right.
But but one guy who will not be active on the roster is Ranger Suarez.
Yeah.
And he's got a back issue. He's got lower back soreness. And you ever notice that his back has been bothering him ever since his wife and kid came to see him at Citizens Bank Park last year?
I have not noticed that.
I'm sorry, trouble, but
I not noticed that, Joe. No.
But so Dave Dombrowski said today he could be ready to pitch sometime next month. Next month being April.
Right.
Because it is still March.
Right.
Barring any issues, I don't think it'll be a long situation. Dombrowski told reporters prior to the exhibition game today, but we're going to be slow. Not that slow.
You concerned?
I mean, I'm concerned more because of the fact that you have Taiwan 3-run homer Walker.
Yeah.
Who should have been kicked off the team after 2023.
Yeah. Although they said he pitched pretty good at spring training.
Yeah. But now we'll see what he does next week. But we're not going to bring Suarez back until he feels good. And he feels good now, but now we're in that stage where we have to build him up.
Yeah.
And the good news is, if you really wanted to, because the AAA schedule starts this weekend as well,
Okay.
you might be able to sneak him up for a rehab assignment at AAA.
Good.
But or you can just leave him down in Florida for extended spring training as well.
Plus, if I'm not mistaken, the first month of the schedule, it favors the pitchers because they're not, you have so many days off, so it's not like, we really need him.
Yeah.
Early in the season. So.
Yeah, because when you look at the schedule for the first 10 days or so,
yeah,
you got a day off on Friday.
Right.
They play opening day in DC at 4:05.
Right.
Then you have a day off on Friday, and that's built into the schedule because, especially when you're in a potential cold weather site, as in Washington, you give that day off because if you have a rain out or a snow out,
right,
because you do, we still could get snow, but it's not happening this year. You could still get snow until the middle of April.
Exactly.
You could still have a rain out or a snow out, and then you would just move the game to Friday.
Yep, that's it.
Now, the same is the case for the Phillies on Monday when they play the Rockies.
Okay.
They play Monday, and they're off on Tuesday.
I can see that.
So that's built into the schedule because if you do that, you would have a single game on Tuesday instead.
Right.
And right now, the weather will be good on Thursday, I imagine, because of the fact that it'll be 51 here on Thursday, so probably about 55 in DC.
Yeah.
Now, Monday, right now we're talking a week away.
Right.
So it's kind of like, now they are saying possibility of the chance of precipitation is right now, but you're talking a week away. But as of right now, Monday, they are calling for a high of 74 degrees.
Oh my, as George Takai would say.
Oh my, oh my.
Oh my.
I have that sound drop. But then on Tuesday and Wednesday, it's going to be 54 and 52 next week.
Okay.
So you're going to get that one tease of a day, and then the bottom falls out. Yeah. So Suarez, and with those days off, you may not need Taiwan Walker right away.
That's true.
But you may use him. You may just still pitch him next Wednesday if you really wanted to at the beginning of the year, depending on what Zach Wheeler wants to do. I think you bow to what he wants to do.
Is that a 2-game series next week or 3 games?
3.
Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And Thursday's an afternoon game too.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good.
Yeah.
Wednesday night to Thursday afternoon. Okay.
Let me see one thing here. Yeah, so Thursday will be Zach Wheeler. Saturday will be Jesus. And Sunday will be
Nola?
Aaronola, yeah.
Gotcha.
And Christopher Sanchez will have the Monday game.
Gotcha.
Yeah, because what they're trying to do is they're trying to break up the left-handed pitchers as much as they can.
I can see that.
Because you got 3 of them in the rotation now.
Oh, that's right.
And according to ESPN, Zach Wheeler will be pitching on Wednesday.
Oh. Okay.
But that's just ESPN right now. Things can change. It could be like, I don't feel like doing that, whatever. So Ranger Suarez will be out for a little bit. And we talked about the strange case of Mookie Betts.
Right.
We also have the strange injury of Matt Strom. Pork Chop, welcome in.
Pork chop.
We had the strange case of Matt Strom. Now, he had the shoulder issue. He's fine now, apparently. I mean, he's getting lit up like a Christmas tree, but, he's just trying to get himself back into the groove. And, you're probably experimenting with a couple of things, That's what spring training is for. Even though I got ripped, he's about to rip some packs of MLS and F1 cards. Hopefully, he gets some good cards there. I might start ripping packs one day.
Okay.
I mean, I just have to figure out where to get them and all. I mean, I know where to get them, but it's just a matter of will they be what I want,
Right.
But Matt Strom, aka Nick Wright's doppelganger, or after what the Eagles did to his Chiefs, Nick Wrong.
That's true.
Well, Matt Strom did not pitch in the Grapefruit League finale today as planned because of a finger injury that occurred while packing. He reportedly tore his fingernail off his left middle finger while getting ready to depart from the team's spring home in Clearwater, Florida.
That is so unusual.
Mm-hmm. It's not expected to jeopardize his opening day roster spot after he struggled in 2 spring training appearances by giving up 6 runs in an inning and 2/3. Was that before the injury?
I think it was.
Okay, yeah, because I don't think he's pitched since then, but
Yeah.
but I think they'll use him more lower leverage situations. But you know how they don't use the closer role like they should.
That's true.
And as we said before, Washington hosts the Phillies on their home opener. Matt Strom was 6-2 with a 1.87 ERA and 66 relief appearances. So he showed up all year last year.
Yeah, he did.
And that's one of those great moves that they did make. So hopefully he has another year like that. But
Let's hope so.
I doubt he makes the All-Star game this year because Dave Roberts, the LA manager, will be the manager in charge. And I mean, even they have like a committee that does all the All-Star game selections and stuff like that. And then you got to figure out, well, we need somebody from Pittsburgh, we need somebody from Chicago. Yeah, we might as well take somebody from Colorado. You got to have a player from each team. So, but so I'm going to share my screen again here because we did mention the Washington Nationals, and I saw this today. And let me close a couple of these windows only because these tabs are like my brain all over the place. I can even close that tournament bracket one. And we are going to take a look at Washington's new City Connect jerseys. Because we're getting to the point now where teams are getting reissued. They're getting or issued new City Connect jerseys.
Okay.
So I'm purposely doing that because I don't want you to see it right away.
Gotcha.
Yeah, oh, no, not that one. That's not what I want to zoom in on. I want to zoom in on this tab because that's what I'm sharing with you guys. And now I'll probably will have to scroll down and show you the original City Connect jerseys, but they announced the new ones today. At least I think it was today. So this year, the second set of City Connect uniforms will be the Astros and the Nationals have already announced theirs. The Giants are going to get a new one, which are going to be worn for the first time April 8th. They haven't released them yet. Colorado Rockies April 18th. The White Sox on May 2nd. The Marlins on May 3rd. Now, you don't, the Marlins ones were fine. Arizona Diamondbacks May 9th, and the Boston Red Sox May 16th. Now, the Athletics and the New York Yankees are the only ones without a City Connect jersey. The Yankees are refusing because they're the Yankees, and rightfully so, because, what are you going to do with a City Connect jersey for the New York Yankees? And the Athletics, what are you going to do with them? Because, they're in this no man's land that they're in right now. But so here are the Washington National 2025 City Connects. Now, in my opinion, and you see that, right?
No.
You don't see it?
No.
Oh, God damn it. Why didn't you tell me?
I don't see it.
Motherfucker. All right, let's try this again.
Okay. See it now.
Hold on.
Okay.
Here. No. Damn it. Make myself really small. And I'll bring you in. Really small. And I did not do this right. Damn it. There we go. We got it finally.
Okay.
So, what do you think?
Doesn't send me.
Now,
Or it does send me somewhere, not here though. Yeah.
oh, nowhere to send you. But anyways, they pay homage to their place in the fabric of Washington, D.C. with multiple nods to the city. A new stylized W that surrounds the outline of the Capitol Dome is on the cap and jersey patch. So that W that's there,
Yeah.
if I was able to zoom in, I don't think they have. No, they don't. And I also showed you the Houston one. There is that W does have a capital outline to it, so you will see that on the hats this year and the helmets.
Okay.
Now, a popular element of the first City Connect look, the cherry blossom flank on both sides of the W. So you do have the cherry blossoms, kind of like how you would have a star there. That's a cherry blossom on each side.
Right.
The city grid and the tones of the American denim is featured on the jersey. So those lines that are there that you see on the one player there,
Yeah.
that's actually the grid and the map of the city of Washington. And I did see that, like the one portion of the jersey, you'll see the Washington curly W logo. That's where they are in the southern part of DC. You will see that on the jersey as well.
Okay.
But Schoenfeld gives them a C minus, and I'll have to scroll down, but I will find that original one so you can see, because I love the Washington cherry blossom one.
I did too.
So here's the new Astros one. And, well, Washington will make their debut on Saturday against the Phillies. So, yippee. Houston, I mean, they're paying tribute to their city contributions to space travel with an eye to the future this time around. The trim and pinstriping for this uniform is a nod to the history of the moon landing with the lunar pattern. The Jersey word mark is an expression of the sleek and futuristic design to further add the main theme.
I like it.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Yeah.
Gave it a C.
Right.
Um, they have City Connect jerseys keep fans happy to bring in a few extra retail dollars. Theme is Mission to Mars, while the Afterburner orange socks are pretty cool for those players willing to wear a high pant leg. The overall look is clean but bland and not as experimental as some of those City Connect styles. It actually feels more like a potential regular redesign of an alternative jersey, other than the kind of lame Strohs with a chest plate. But I mean, the thing is,
yeah.
I kind of like this. It's fitting for a home jersey. No big deal.
It is.
So I'm gonna bring this back here because I'm going to scroll down here. Now the Dodgers had their redesign last year. Those things are horrible. They're called the Fun. I'm not even going to show it.
Okay.
Funfetti City Connect. And the thing is, no longer is Freddie Freeman number 5 with these uniforms. He's now number 05.
All righty then.
Mm-hmm. But Minnesota's last year got rave reviews. Toronto's were okay. Cardinals got a C plus, but it says the Lou on there, or St. Lou, one or the other. Oh no, it says the Lou on it, LOU. I don't think I want to be called what other parts of the world call the toilet.
Yeah. The Lou.
The Mets one, I'm going to show this. I mean, we've seen this, but that's the Mets one. And the thing is, the writer here, he gave it an F.
Still dark.
It feels like a big swing and a miss for the obvious reason it gives off a Yankees vibe rather than a Mets one. And you can't screw up worse than that. Why not go with Queens on the chest? Rather than the predictable NYC.
Right.
And the Queensboro Bridge cap just doesn't work. Now, I don't care about that, but this jersey, I actually like it, and they bring a different color in with purple there. I kind of liked it, but
well, if you have Queens on the chest, you have to have a picture of Freddie Mercury on the sleeve, right?
Brendan, welcome in.
Hey, Brendan.
Or you could have a picture of Queen Elizabeth that I shared the other day. Was that on Facebook? No, not on Blue Sky.
Oh, wait a minute. It was on Facebook. I saw that. I think it was on Facebook. I need to get on Blue Sky. It's easy to get on there, right?
Yeah, just sign in, bing, bang, boom, done.
Gotcha.
Let me see if I have it on here. No, I didn't share. It must have been on Instagram.
Okay.
And good luck with me finding that because it was basically, I think it was a picture that was photoshopped.
Right. Yeah.
But it was Queen Elizabeth walking onto the stage, and
right.
you see her and all
that. It was, yeah. I still see that.
Yeah, so they did do that. So,
I gotta check out.
So the Mets got an F with those. The Phillies ones they got a C. I mean, there wasn't much you could do with that, without going. Now the Pittsburgh ones, they did a nod to the 70s. They're one of my favorites. But he gave them a C plus. The Braves were a good one. I mean, it wasn't much of a creative thing. The San Diego Padres got an A on theirs, but I mean, it's the California mix with Mexico and all that. But Brew Crew got an A. The Angels got an A minus, despite it being bland. Kansas City Royals got a C. I kind of like that. Here's the original Astro ones. I kind of liked them. Even though it's navy blue on navy blue. It was still half decent.
Okay.
And I'm sure that Jose Altuve, if he really wanted to, he could wear it when he's riding horses at Sam Houston Race Park.
He probably could.
Because he's a little guy.
I got you.
Let's see. Okay, here we go. Here's the original Washington National one. So I'm purposely not. Now we both already know them because they've worn them numerous times against the Phillies.
Right.
But here's the Washington National ones. They should have never went off of this, but of course they're trying to get New Jerseys, and it's not. They're not that bad. They're not that bad. The new ones, but it's like when you got one here that's really nice here. You just gotta go with what sells, and they're trying to get they're trying to get more money out of this and all that, but there's the original. That's probably one of the best ones. You had the cherry blossoms there on the side. You had the cherry blossom
on the side,
again.
Yep.
God damn it!
It's okay. I know who these guys are. Oh, you know what? I did like those.
You see it now?
Yeah, I did like those.
Yeah.
I remember those.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did see that a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think we're near the end here, so
They do look better than those.
Dodgers take one. They didn't like the blue on blue, so they went with the white pants and they just said, "Fuck it, let's just redo it."
Right.
They got an F for that. Giants, it was like, okay, well, Bay Bridge and all that, they got a C. Diamondbacks, they were okay. They got a B,
Right.
Chicago Cubs, they weren't that bad.
No.
But they got a D. It's just that Wrigleyville is such a long word to have on there.
That's too long.
The White Sox I liked, even though they call these dark gray, they're actually black.
Yeah.
The one thing is with these, I don't want to play in these uniforms in a July sunny day.
Oh, heck no. No.
But
I like the South Side.
But it was probably the most predictable City Connect uniforms. Heavy emphasis on black, although they are officially dark gray. And they're going away from this one, which I am disappointed at. Because that's a cool uniform.
That is a cool uniform.
And you got an A grade and you're getting rid of those things. I mean, but the thing is, nobody in Miami's going to buy them because nobody goes to those games.
Right. Exactly.
Oh yeah, we had an attendance of 12,003. Yeah, 9,000 didn't show up.
Right.
And 2/3 of those that are remaining are the road team's fans.
They've been horrible for years. Even when they were winning, their attendance was horrible.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They only show up in October.
Yep.
And the Boston Red Sox one, these are actually going to be, even though they're getting a new uniform, a new City Connect,
yeah,
they're making this an alternate jersey. And you've seen this T-shirt that I have.
Right. Oh, yes, I have. Okay.
Now, in my opinion,
yeah,
once you get over the fact that they're the Red Sox and they're wearing blue and yellow, and you understand why they did this, it's because of the Boston Marathon. You're like, oh, okay. I actually like those jerseys. They hit a home run with this first one.
Yeah.
Even though they gave them a B, I thought it was great.
It was.
So they had the patch with the 617 area code on there. I really like that.
It's a nice jersey.
But that's going to become an alternate jersey for them this year. So, but we're just we're not going to rate them A to F. Some we like, some we don't like, and it is what it is. And I kind of like, I mean, the Astros look good, the Nationals look good, but the thing is, you're trying to top a very nice City Connect jersey.
Yeah.
You can't do that. I'm afraid to see what Nike may want to do with the next bout for the Phillies.
Yeah.
As long as if they just change the color scheme and go red and black, but whatever. So, remember last week? It might have been last Monday show. I told you what would have happened if a team does not have 8 players to play in the NBA.
Yes.
Well, I think we have a crisis averted.
Ah.
And let me get everything back to 100% here because I can't stand things at like 150, 200%. And the thing is, and you know this from sitting next to me at games, and even if we're wherever we're going to be for the Kentucky Derby, one thing you notice is I take my glasses off to read my phone a lot of times.
Yeah.
And I even said this to the eye doctor last week, or whoever I was with, whoever was seeing me last week along the road, because you go to this one person, then you go to a second person, then you get to see the doctor. It's like, oh, by the way, you're fine, goodbye. The one thing you will notice with me, and I've said this to numerous people, I refuse to make the font on my phone bigger. I would rather struggle reading it because of the fact that, let's say we're at the Phillies game, the row behind us, the seats are about this much higher.
Right.
Let's make it a little harder for them to read what I'm looking at or see what I'm looking at. If I'm peeking in on ESPN Plus, whatever, that's something different. But let's say I'm looking at text or whatever, and I don't know what's in that text, and it's like, oh shit, I shouldn't have opened that text, Actually, you don't have to worry about that. I'm single. But seriously, if somebody is going to read what's on my phone, it's going to be just as much of a hard time for them in the row behind me than it is for me with it like 2 feet in front of me like this.
That's true.
So, I try to make it a little bit tougher.
I can see that.
So, so I don't know why I went off on that tangent, but anyways, I did ask you about the situation in Dallas, and it appears that a crisis has been averted for now because Anthony Davis is back. And by the way, the Sixers lost again tonight, 112-99.
Yeah.
To a team with the worst record in the New Orleans Pelicans.
Again, what else is there?
At least the Eagles won down there.
Yes.
Well, they won down there twice this year.
Yes.
They won in November. They won in September.
Yeah, beat New Orleans, right?
And went belt to ass on the Kansas City Chiefs. Okay, the Mavericks did go belt to ass to the Brooklyn Nets, 120-101.
Oh, okay.
So, and 2, 3, 4, 5. They actually had 10 different players play.
Wow. Okay.
So they had 10 active players today, and like we said, we needed 8. So somewhere along the line, somebody did come back.
Good.
Before, or maybe a couple of people, because remember, you have those G League players that they can only be on the active roster X amount of games. So, but they did have 10 players there, and they ended up winning. And Anthony Davis did come back today, and the Unibrow had 12 points in 27 minutes. They were planning to have him play 28. He played 27, so he was right on the mark.
Right.
So, and the reason why that they're, because I talked about that last week, but he did return tonight. He pushed hard in his rehab to make his return late in the season, even as the Mavericks were in a tight race with the Phoenix Suns for the 10th spot in the West. So, unlike the Sixers, where they sat everybody and they made sure they weren't making the playoffs because they're 7.5 games behind the Miami Heat for the 10th spot.
You know, they might get fined for that.
Yeah. You know what? They probably won't do anything to the Sixers unless they get the number 1 pick in the draft.
Gotcha.
Because if they land outside the top 6,
Yeah.
that becomes OKC's pick.
Okay.
But because right now Dallas has the 10 spot right now, so they have a half game lead on Phoenix. So unlike the Sixers, where when we looked at things about what was it, about a month ago, we were saying, well, they're not far behind that 10 spot, but you have all these injuries.
We did say that, yeah.
So, but I think that they see that there's an opportunity to at least try to play for a spot because you make it the 9 because Sacramento's only a game ahead of them right now.
Right.
And I don't know about the tiebreakers, so we're not even going to look at that. So it's possible they, if they have 10 players and they can play and nobody else gets hurt, and maybe they get another player or 2 back.
You never know.
Maybe they get the 9, they get a home game.
Yeah.
Who knows? But so he pushed hard in his rehab. He was on a 28-minute minute limit, 28-minute limit, as I mentioned before, and he played 27. Jason Kidd said before the game, "We understand he's one of the best players in the world, but he's been out for some time. We just want a healthy, positive experience." Whatever the hell that means. So is that the equivalent of load management?
Possible.
A healthy, positive experience?
Yeah.
So we understand he's one of the best players, blah, blah, blah. So the defending Western Conference champions have been decimated by injuries this season, most recently with Kyrie tearing his ACL. And now we have to listen to him talking about the world being flat. So the Mavericks were thinking about holding Davis out for the rest of the year, but he was adamant about making a healthy return. And Kidd said, I think you got to commend him for working to get back. This is his job, so he feels responsible to get back to work and just understanding that first part is just who he is. And the second part we can always talk about the future, but that's the balance we have to look at. And tonight's the start of the rest of the season. But again, he gets paid to play. His character for working to get back with 12 games left shows how much he cares about what he wants to do, and that's to help us win. So, and the one game he did play with Dallas, the game he got injured, he had a 26 point, 16 rebounds, 7 assist performance that ended early in the third quarter. So he was going to have a monster game before he got hurt. So, but Dallas has 12 games left now, or 11, or 10 games. So they're 35 and 37. They play at the Knicks tomorrow. They play at Orlando, at Chicago, home to Brooklyn, home to Atlanta. They play back-to-back nights against the Clippers. I think one of those games was the Fire game.
Okay.
And they play at home to the Lakers, at home to Toronto, and at Memphis to close the regular season. So, read into that what you will.
So you're saying there's a chance.
Mm-hmm. And that's going to be another sound drop. I already had that queued up to download.
Okay.
Yeah. I just have to put it all together. So, I scrolled down accidentally on Instagram.
Yeah.
ESPN bet patrons that took Alabama money line and Maryland money line both cashed out after double overtime game. Early victory activated. So I don't know what the promotion was because I don't have ESPN bet and we don't promote ESPN bet on Bleacher Brothers, but Maryland came back from 17 down to beat Alabama. Due to the early victory promo, moneyline wagers on Alabama were paid out immediately when they went up 17 in the third quarter. So it must have been if they were up 17 or more.
Right.
I've seen it on different platforms that you had that early win. I tried doing that with the Phillies the one time. I had to sit through a whole game just to get that because they never got a 3-run lead on the Mets or whoever it was. But yeah, so but I guess the promotion was 17 points,
Okay.
but I don't see. And the thing is, I don't have ESPN Bet, nor do I want it. I have enough places to begin with, enough of these apps right now.
You got a few.
Oh, I do. I mean, I'll just look at my phone here. I have. Let's see, nothing there. I have Bet365,
Right.
BetMGM,
Right.
Caesars. I have Rivers Casino, but it's not, or actually it's Bet Rivers, but I don't have it on this phone. I have Sugar House on here. I have DraftKings,
Right.
FanDuel.
Right.
I have NoVig, which is a social one.
Okay.
I have Rebet, and I have Fanatics.
You still have Rebet?
Yeah, I just haven't used it lately.
Okay.
I haven't put money in there. I've been using the coins, and I've been hitting left and right on the coins for a while there, but I just haven't had time. But I actually got a $50 fan cash thing from Fanatics the other today.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, part of their promotion where if you play a 3-team parlay or more, you join it. Blah blah blah. Oh shit!
What?
I played a hockey game thinking it was tonight.
Yeah.
It's not till tomorrow.
Alrighty then.
Excuse me. 1 second.
Yeah.
Because I still have $40 in fan cash. I may let it sit there or whatever. But it's but they had a thing there. It's like, okay, yeah, if you put this in and you get selected, you'll win fan cash. I'm like, all right, well, they'll give me 15. They'll give me 20. I get the alert today. You got 50. I'm like, oh damn.
Right.
I could get another hat or something if I wanted to, but I decided to use it toward the casino. And I played a 3-team parlay in women's college basketball, and I lost with the Hillbillies of West Virginia. Well, I'm sorry, the Mountaineers. Mountaineers, Lady Mountaineers, if they're ladies.
Yeah.
If they call themselves Lady Mountaineers, whatever.
That's what they told me.
Yeah.
What up, Lord Jacob? You're the winner of $50 fan cash.
Well, this is what Jalen Rose had to say.
What up, though? It's Jalen Rose, and you're the winner of $50 fan cash. Just opt in to claim it and use it how you choose. For bonus bets, for merch, just enjoy the chaos.
Wow. Thank you, Jalen.
So I ended up getting that. So I used $20 so far. It was just that I thought the hockey game was tonight. It was tomorrow.
It means you'll win tomorrow.
Yeah, I got Tampa Bay on the puck line minus 1.5 goals
Okay.
against the Pittsburgh Pigeons.
I can see that.
Maybe I use it for baseball on Thursday.
Good. Okay.
You know, some sort of a prop or something. I don't know. But let me just see one more thing here. All right, so that is going to be it for this show. Mike, thank you once again for making that hike up here.
Of course.
And we will do it live tomorrow. Oh, I'll do it live tomorrow at 9 o'clock. Or I think the Bleacher Brothers will be back tomorrow. So it may be 9:10, 9:15. I encourage you to go to twitch.tv/Joe Quills because then you'll get the alerts.
Yeah.
But my alerts haven't really been working lately, so I don't know what's going on. So, but what I'm going to do is we still have college basketball games going on right now. I'm going to rate Bridget Case here. She was who you were hearing me play earlier when we were doing our thing earlier. So we're going to rate her. And those that are watching on Twitch, we will go to her. Hopefully that final game of the night isn't a blowout. And we'll see if we can what happens with that final game. I think it's USC and whoever. I don't care. I don't mind going 15-1 the second round, but But anyways, we're going to send you to Bridget. Say hi. She doesn't bite, and I will see you tomorrow night at 9 o'clock. See you in the winner's circle. Have a great night, everybody. Well, I got to start the raid too. There we go. We're all set for the raid. Have a great night, everybody. See you in the winner's circle.